the skyline of Chicago in a really unique way. People are fascinated by it. We wish they keep their greasy little fingerprints off of it, because we have to clean it every day. We have custodial people cleaning off. And then we do 2 major cleanings a year. That costs about $70,000 to make sure that happens. But and the not-for-profit that I work for, MPI, is responsible for doing that work. But the whole idea was to be interactive, and it's an incredible piece of art that has defined Chicago to the world now, as John Bryan would say. We weren't happy about the final number, which was $23 million. But when we look at what it's done for Chicago, is defining Chicago around the world, it's really attracting people to Chicago just to see that one piece of art. I just gave an interview to Russian TV the other day, and the reporter who interviewed me said she saw Cloud Gate on the internet, and she talked to her producer, and they decided that they had to come to Chicago, not only to look at Cloud Gate and Millennium Park, but to look at Chicago as a whole and do a story about it for Russian TV in Moscow. So hopefully there'll be some more people coming to Chicago from Moscow. Crown Fountain is the other major piece of art. This is the SOM plan. Checking my time here to make sure I don't go too long. This is the computer drawing that Joe May Plensa, the Barcelona artist, did after we had another competition. We looked at Robert Venturi and Maya Lin. And Maya Lin said, "I don't do proposals unless you pay me," so she was out. So, but Joe May was very passionate about his scheme. And this is the cross-section. It's built over a garage, so underneath these towers we could put the mechanical rooms that operate it. It was actually a very complicated project to build. Joe May Plensa, the artist, had no idea how to build it. He just came up with the original concept. And we had to hire a really qualified architect, mechanical engineers, fountain engineers, electronic engineers, structural engineers, to be able to put this thing together. It was an incredible feat of architecture and technology in order to make it happen. That's the structural system exposed. That's Joe May looking at the molds for the 22,000 glass bricks that we made. And this is the process of making the bricks. And these were made in Pennsylvania. It was a firm that made glass tchotchkes, and they were the only firm that could really do this. They had experimented, and the glass was really quite extraordinary. The glass was then set into stainless steel framework, which you see here, and they're laying up the 50-foot high panel, which is one side of one of the towers. And then the nozzle was another problem. The architect who was asked to stand in front of the first experiment was knocked over by the stream. So they had to go back to the drawing board. The nozzle is actually a very complicated structure. It is made of plexiglass, machine plexiglass, and to get the nozzle and the water through the LEDs was really a complicated process. And that's the inside of the tower and under construction. Anyway, it's incredible. We had no idea it would be the kind of attraction that it is. The artist and all of us thought, yeah, well, the reflecting pool would be sort of nice. People would maybe wander into it. At night, it changes colors.
How tall is it?
It's 50 feet high. The faces of 1,000 Chicagoans have been videotaped and are on each face for about 6 minutes. And then the last 20 seconds, they do the gargoyle effect. They spit water. All those people were photographed in this chair by the camera that filmed Star Wars. It was the special effects camera, so very high speed. Their director was saying, pretend you're blowing out a candle, or blink, or smile, or it's the control room where all those the data is kept. And as I said, there are 1,000 faces. The faces represent Chicago's ethnic diversity, so age, gender, ethnicity. No one famous. The artist stipulated that. The School of the Art Institute did all the videotaping. When we were doing this, people were asked to do this. The fountain wasn't there. They were very skeptical. A lot of them wouldn't sign the release. And so it was hard. Now everyone wants their face in the fountain. The most asked question is, how do I get my face in the fountain? So during a hot summer day, there could be 1,000 kids in the fountain. It's become a real place for kids to gather. Initially, they didn't bring their bathing suits, but later in the summer, that first summer, they figured out the parents were tired of having children come home with wet clothes. They were holding up the little babies in front of the hand dryer in the toilet, trying to dry them off. Kids just love it, and adults love it too. We get adults in there too. It is a place for performance. This is the Joffrey Ballet Young Performers.
Yes.
And like everything in the park, it is accessible to people in wheelchairs. And even during the winter, it doesn't spit water, but we have the faces are changing all through the winter. We thought about having them spit ice cubes, but that might hurt. Another space is the Boeing Gallery, underwritten by Boeing. Now they provide an endowment, so we have a place where we do sculpture exhibitions or photo exhibitions. It changes every year, 2 years, depending on how much the endowment has generated. This was Great Gardens of the World photo exhibition. Last year, we had 5 pieces by Mark de Souvreau. And this big one here has a big giant swing, which weighs about a ton. And people were getting a little too rambunctious, so this thing is all possible. We're the mayor, right here. Anish Kapoor, Frank Gehry, Joe May Plensa, Catherine Gustafson, and the man who raised all the money is John Bryan. Without John Bryan, the 2 people on the end really made the park possible. The mayor, in spite of all the negative press, was determined to finish it. He hates the press anyway, so he was determined to just make them eat their words eventually. And John Bryan raised a tremendous amount of money, and as things escalated, like Cloudgate, going up to 23 million, he wasn't happy, but he continued to raise the money. So that first weekend, we had over 300,000 people visit the park. We decided to have a public opening, and then a week later, we had the private opening for the donors. A great fireworks display, and we had we gave each donor 2 seats for the dinner, and then if they wanted to bring their family, if John wanted to bring his family, it was $1,000 extra per seat. So we raised about $3 million from that one event for the endowment. And we invited all the workers to come to the concert, though. So all the tradesmen got to come for free to the concert. They didn't get dinner. Oh, and this is the other black slide. So suddenly, the newspapers think it's the greatest thing that ever happened.